lady, and welcome to a new video. So today's video is one of my most requested videos ever since like the last year or so when I started doing this in my vlogs. So if you're someone who watches my vlogs, then you'll know that I like to annotate some books, and I get asked a lot how I annotate, why I annotate, how I do it, what the tabs mean, and so on. So I thought I would finally do this video, which has been a long time in the making. So if you guys are interested in finding out what my tabs mean in my books, how I annotate my books, if you're wanting to start annotating your books but you're not really sure how, then please keep watching this video because I'm going to explain everything in this. I'm going to try and do it in sections. I've been watching a few other booktubers videos on this, so I think I'm going to split mine into sections like most of the other booktubers have done, just to make this a little bit more easier and quick and concise for you guys. So yes, if you would like to see how I annotate my books, then please keep watching this video. So let's get to the why. Why do I annotate my books? Do I annotate every single book? No. I annotate specific books, and to be honest, I'm not entirely sure how I select the book. I will usually do it for my Patreon buddy reads. I will also do it if it's like an anticipated release, one I'm really excited about. So for example, when House of Sky and Breath comes out by Sarah J Maas, I will be annotating that because I know I'm gonna love it and it's just one of my most anticipated releases. There's just certain books I'll get a feeling about and I'm like, yeah, I know I want to annotate this, whereas other books I wouldn't bother to. So I usually kind of annotate books that I know I'm probably going to really love because I just find it so fun. And the reason I annotate books like this is because for me it makes the reading experience feel so much more personal. So I will quite often like date when I'm reading it, and what I will do is I will write my thoughts in it and my feelings, my reactions, those sorts of things. If I find something really relatable in that book at that point in time in my life, I will make a note of it in there. And another reason I do it as well is because I like to highlight like key things, information, things I might think will be later important in the book or foreshadowing something in another book. If it's a reread, like when I reread the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, which I will link the vlogs here if you guys want to go and watch that. I reread those and I knew that there were a lot of things I didn't pick up in the first book that happened in the second book, and like just subtle little hints. So when I reread it, I went through and I annotated those things, and it was so much fun to pick up on all these things that I'd missed the first time. So I find sometimes with annotating, it just kind of makes you more conscious of certain things being mentioned, and you'll be like, I wonder if that'll be significant, and you'll mark it down, and then later on you'll realize that it was, and it's just so cool to flick back to. And another reason as well is like to highlight quotes and scenes, so I can easily go back whenever I want to and find those in there under my annotations. So that is the reason why I annotate, and it's also just super fun as well. I also doodle in my books, so like, yeah. Some people are really against drawing in books and don't understand it, but at the end of the day, these are books in my personal library. These are books that I will treasure for the rest of my life, and I love just like flicking through my annotations and seeing what my thoughts were and like things I noticed. It's just a really fun thing to do when you're reading. It makes it different, it makes it interesting, more personal, and I just love doing it, and I would highly recommend it. Like, it is such a fun thing to do, but it isn't for everyone. So that's the main reasons why I annotate my books. Next up is, what do I use to annotate my books? So I think sticky notes go without saying, so I keep mine in this little book tin I have here, which has a Kerry Maniscalco quote on it. So this is from like a subscription box, but I bought this off someone on Depop, and I just think these little book tins are just the perfect size to store your sticky tabs. So I have actually broken this, so sometimes this comes off, but I just have all of these sticky tabs here. These ones are just from Amazon, so you can get ones that are like rectangular like this, or you can get ones that have the little like arrow style. So on these you get 7 sticky tabs, which I feel like is enough. I do also have some that I've gotten in book boxes like this, but I don't use those. So yeah, these sticky tabs here I think are great, especially if you are new to annotating, because you get a wide range of colours to choose from. So you could start with 1, you could start with 2 tabs and do whatever you want. You could just use the same colour for the whole book, or you've got the choice of 7 if you do want to do quite a lot of different style of annotations. So these are great, they're really cheap, can still see the text through them as well. So I get these from Amazon, and these are my favourite ones. If you're in the UK, you can also get the thicker ones, which are £2.50 I believe, and it comes in like a little black leather case, so you can get those as well. And I have some pencil cases with my annotation stuff in. So in this one I have the Bilo Boss, I don't even know how you pronounce it, but you'll know what I mean. So I have these pastel ones which are really pretty. So I have a pink, purple, blue and green one. Now sometimes I use highlighters, sometimes I just use pens, it depends what mood I'm in, to be honest. Sometimes I use both, but these are really pretty and I match them up obviously to the colours of the sticky tabs. And then I do also have this in here as well. So this is just like a little notes thing, so I will usually write like the date I've started the book and things like that if it's a buddy read, and stick it in the front with some washi tape. So washi tape is also another thing that I use. Or if I just want to like write some thoughts on a specific thing, then I will use this. So I keep that on there just in case I need it. And then I have this pencil case here. So in this one I keep my Staedtler, I think they're called, pens. So these are just fine liner pens, you can get these in supermarkets. And I just have the colours that match my sticky tabs, so I just use these to underline things if I don't want to highlight. Like I said, I just pick and choose that at random. There's no like meaning to whether I highlight or use this. Some books there might be, but I didn't usually stick to it. Yeah, these are really good for like underlining things and like colour coding. And then generally I'll just use like sometimes a pencil or just a black pen. And then I have some like paper chase pens as well. This is just a nice lilac that matches one of the dark shades of lilac perfectly to those sticky tabs. So if you are looking for one that matches that colour, then they sell them at Paper Chase. Yeah, I have like this little pencil case. So that is everything I use to annotate. Now let's get into like tabs and what they mean. So I don't always keep it the same for each book, if I'm being honest. Like sometimes I'll do it, but sometimes I'll just switch it up. It just depends what I'm feeling. So for example, we have A Court of Thorns and Roses. So as you can see, I've sticky tabbed a lot in here. And what I do is in the front of all of my books, I will put in like a sheet of paper like this, and I'll stick in all the sticky tabs, and then I'll write next to them which each tab represents. I reread Court of Thorns and Roses. I did the pink tabs for anything that I loved or was relatable. I did the orange tabs for any information, important facts, or just things I thought might be like relevant later in the book. For the yellow tabs, I use that for a new character being introduced or a new place being introduced. For the green, I use them as world building, so any information to do with the world, so like Prothean in here, I would highlight in green. The blue ones were for quotes, and the dark purple I used for anything that was important, so any really important details, anything that I thought would later be really significant in the book, I would highlight in dark purple. And then the light purple ones I just used for any scenes that I really loved. That's what I did in this one. And then I had this here where I put what day I started it, but I forgot to put in when I finished it. So this one, if I reread it, I will just write in here like reread and then the date and stuff, just because I think it's quite fun. So that's what I did for this book, and I'll just show you an example of something that I've tapped in here. So like here, for example, I highlighted in green for some world building, where it said the High Fae had long ago been our overlords, not gods, and they certainly hadn't been kind. So it's just setting like the tone of the book, letting you know the backstory. And then here I've highlighted fairy loving whore in orange, highlighted in purple to say that this is an important thing, where it says that don't you idiots understand what those monsters did to us for all those centuries, what they still do for sport when they can get away with it. You deserve the end, meet of fairy hands, fools and whores, all of you. And then here I've just wrote a note on the side to say that humans in this world despise the fae, and by association you are also hated. So I just like kind of link those together. So that's just an example of what I've done there. And then like here, for example, because this was a reread, I highlighted in purple and then I put if only they knew poor Reese, because in this bit here they obviously don't know what happens in Akamath. So I highlighted it because obviously I knew, and I wrote a little note about it. So that's like a really fun thing to do, but I generally just like highlight things like this, and sometimes I will write a note or if I can relate to it and things like that. So like here, for example, I highlighted this bit here as important. I put Akamath chapter 50 here because I know that this relates to that in Akamath. So just things like that are really fun if you're rereading. And I also highlighted this about Nesta and put first class bitch. So yeah, sometimes it's just fun to put stuff in here. Like I just write whatever I'm thinking or feeling at the time. So sometimes I double highlight like this here. So this was both world building and important, so I double highlighted. So that is something I also do as well. Like here was one of my favorite quotes. So I just did these cute little doodles. So like I just do things like that in my book sometimes and just like make little doodles because it's just fun and it's cute. These are definitely my most annotated books. Like look how many sticky tabs are in here. And then sometimes I don't always like annotate them, sometimes I just tab them. So like in Addie LaRue I did start to write in it and like annotate, but then later in the book I just got lazy and I literally just started like sticking in a tab and not writing or highlighting. So it literally just depends on my mood and like how and when I'm reading this. So sometimes I just tab, sometimes I annotate, it really just depends, but generally I will just like put a little note in the front to say which tab is which colour and just like go from there. Like I love how aesthetically pleasing this page is with all the different tabs and stuff. But yeah, it really does depend, but generally I just make a note of like what colour. And like another thing to note is I don't always include like certain things in certain books. So sometimes like I'd include a tab for like something that was really sad, sometimes I would include a tab that's for like action, sometimes I won't include a tab that's for characters. It just solely depends on the specific book I'm reading. So the great thing about annotating and tabbing is yes, you can come up with a system, but you can also just change it at any point you want, and you won't necessarily need to use those certain tabs. So for example, if I read a fiction book, I'm not really going to use the world building tab because you generally just use that in fantasy. So yeah, if that makes sense, you can literally just tab whatever you want. Some people tab like emotions, some people tab things they get shocked at. Like you can just do anything, and that is the best thing about it. It's all personal to you and how you want to annotate your books. So that's how I annotate and what tabs mean and like the kind of things that I write. So like I said earlier, it's very personal. So for example, certain things in ACOTAR and ACOMAF I could really relate to what Feyre was kind of going through, so I would write notes about that and my experiences and how they link to Feyre. Sometimes I would literally just write lol next to things, sometimes I would write bitch next to things if it was Nesta being horrible, sometimes I would write great long things, sometimes I would write about how it was significant to something in the other book I'd read because it was a reread. Other times I will write something like my thoughts saying, like for example, if I'm reading a book and it comes up with something and I have a theory, I will write my little theory in there, and then later on if it's correct I can go back and look and be like, oh yeah, that indicated that. So it's just a really fun thing to do, and that's generally what I write in my books and how I annotate. My best tips on how you can start annotating is to maybe first start just tabbing a book. So come up with a system. If there's certain things you know you look out for in a book or you enjoy, so for example a quote, just start off by highlighting quotes that you like in a book and just doing that. Next time maybe add in something else. So if you want to mark what characters and character information, then you can add that tab in and start doing that. If you want to try the next time and do world building, then you can also add that and start highlighting anything that kind of explains the world. So for example, if it said, you know, there was this kingdom here and there's this kingdom and this one, you could highlight all of that and then later go back to it to see maybe who belonged to which kingdom or why that's relevant, or if it's a piece of history to do with the world building, you can highlight that and later refer to it. So those are examples of things you can do, and you can also add in, like I said, emotions. So you could do a sad tab for any sad moments in the book, you could do one for any like romantic ones in the book or smut or something. You can literally do whatever you want. So you can start off small and gradually add more tabs in, or you can just do whatever you want. It's totally up to you, and that's the best thing about it. When it comes to annotations, again, it's very personal. So you could start off just by writing like something that it made you feel, like if it made you feel happy, if it made you feel sad, if it's something you could relate to, you could literally write I relate to this, or you could go further and do I relate to this because blah blah blah, I experienced this, and that again is personal to you. You can literally just write any single thought that enters your head to do with a character, anything at all. You can doodle, whatever. Literally just write in whatever you want. Another thing that you can do, which that I kind of want to start doing but just haven't yet, that I've seen other people doing, is at the end of each chapter, if you are going to be reviewing the book or you just want to be able to do this, and I do think it's quite like a cool thing to do, is write a little summary, put a post-it note in and just summarize the chapter you've read. And that way if you're writing a review or anything like that, you can just refer back to your summary for each chapter to remember the key things that happened or the key things that you loved. So that is another good thing you can do with annotating. If there's not going to be enough room to do an annotation, stick a sticky note in there and just write your feelings all over it. Honestly, it is so fun to go back back and look through Booktube annotated and see which things you related to, which things you loved, what you wrote. Like, it's so fun to do. So yeah, my best tips are just to use whatever pen. It doesn't have to be coloured pens. You can just underline with a biro, you can use one colour tab, you can use the same colour tab. It's all up to you, whatever you want to do. Yeah, just start off small. Add one tab in and then another your next read, then start writing your little notes or go all at once. It's totally up to you, but I hope that this was helpful to you and this kind of explained my system and what I do to annotate my books. I personally just love annotating my books, especially if I know it's going to be a favourite or it's a reread of a favourite. I will always annotate it. It's just so fun to go back to, and like I said, if it's in a series then it's great because you can refer back to previous books to see where something was significant and how it's tied into that specific book you're reading, and it's just so much fun to do, especially if you're a reviewer as well. It will make reviewing so much easier. So yes, I do hope that you guys like this video and you've got some good ideas on how to annotate or a better understanding of my annotation process. Personally, there are so many amazing videos on YouTube on annotating books, so obviously if I haven't answered everything then you can always check out those as well. One of my favourite videos on annotating books is Chloe's video, so I'll link that down below if you guys want to watch that as well. But yes, I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up and leave a little pen emoji or a book emoji in the comments if you made it to the end of this video. Please let me know if you found this helpful or if there's any other questions you have on annotating. Let me know if you're going to be starting to annotate your books, or if you already do, or there's anything you do that I didn't mention in here. I would love to know. I find it so interesting and I absolutely love looking at people's annotations in their books. I just think it's so fun. It's so aesthetically pleasing and yeah, I just love it. I love how it looks. So yeah, feel free to leave suggestions down below of other things or what you do. I'd just be really interested to chat to you guys in the comments about it. Yes, I hope you did enjoy this. I will have my social medias linked down below, including Bookstagram, TikTok, Goodreads and so on. I will also have a link to my Patreon, and that is where you can find extra content from me, such as reading vlogs, a monthly buddy read, a Discord and many other things as well. So I would love to have you guys join me there if you wanted to. But for now, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you're all safe and well. I hope you're reading a lot of good books, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!